Alright, so today I'm making this video because I've seen a lot of brake videos online, and I haven't seen anything so far that's covered this particular topic. A couple that are close. So I just want to show you. I've replaced all the brakes. This is a 2007 2500 Silverado HD crew cab 4x4. It's got a 6-inch lift with 36-inch tires, and as you can see, I've put some performance brake rotors on to keep it cool. I went with the dimpled ones just because a lot of information online said don't go with the drill ones, they crack too often. I've checked with a buddy of mine who's a mechanic, and he also said the same thing. So I went with this. The problem I'm having, and you can see I've removed the hardware already, is that where the caliper sits over and where the brake pads, which are over here on the ground now, okay, what I used is I used a CRC silicone based grease, which is good for calipers and bolt pins. I've never used that before. I've always used the synthetic stuff, which seemed to hold up a lot better, but this was laying around from my stepson, so I decided to use it. It works great on the bolts, not so much on the hardware, and we'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I've already cleaned up the hardware here, and as you can see, this is completely clean, and this is brand new hardware. Came from the manufacturer, and the manufacturer I do highly recommend. It's great brake performance. They're very helpful, but you can see on both ends where the wear marks are. Now that's not leftover residue, that's actually scraped into the metal, so that means that the pad was rubbing. And one of the things you have to really make sure when you get these pieces, I always change them out every time I do my brakes, but what you have to make sure is that they're bent properly and that they're snapping in very easily. And they also want to fit very snugly. On the back, I'll show you here, you'll even see, okay, there's some wear marks from the back, and this is from this piece of hardware being loose and the brake rotor pressing, or the caliper, pardon me, pressing on the hardware as it engages and disengages. And so obviously it wasn't tight enough the first time. So what we've done is we've removed this, and we're going to make sure that we bend it back in place properly so that we get a snug fit. Now what I also recommend too, that I haven't seen on many videos, is on the back of here or on your caliper bracket, what I would suggest is I would use some disc brake quiet. It's the synthetic stuff. Again, I'm not really relying on the carbon petroleum based stuff. It seems to break down a lot faster under the heat. So if you use the synthetic stuff, or even if you want to use some anti-seize, shout out to Chris Fix, big fan of his. If you're going to use anti-seize, definitely use the copper. They do sell it in the graphite, which looks like a grease. Spend the extra $1 or $2, get the copper. Again, shout out to Chris Fix for giving me some tips with that stuff. And put it just a small bit on the backing plate, so that this way you're not causing any friction between this backing plate and the rotor bracket. Okay, so I know we're kind of in the sun, I apologize, but when this goes in, okay, it's going to snap in along here, and as you can see, then the pads sit in here and press down on the rotor when you need to brake. So you can either apply the anti-seize, or you can apply like I said, some synthetic grease to the back of this area, okay, and you just want to hit some of the contact points. Like I said, I already know what my contact points are because, again, on the back of the hardware, you can see where the contact points are, mostly on the bottom and just slightly on the top rail. So I'm going to put these back together and use the synthetic grease this time on these, and readjust the brackets, make sure they're bent in place properly. Again, this happens during shipping. It's not an uncommon problem, but again, you want to make sure that they do snap in properly, and hopefully we'll have an easy job just changing these rears and getting rid of that annoying squealing or squeaking noise and some of the grinding noise, just because the hardware was bent in shipping and or packaging. I hope this helps everybody out in some way or another. It's something that you can do yourself. It's not hard if you're mechanically inclined and got a little bit of tools. Just does take some time, but that's the big thing. Take the time to do it right the first time. And again, shout out to Chris Fix. I know he always says the same thing. Make sure you do your homework. A lot of stuff out there on YouTube, and you can follow Chris Fix on YouTube as well. He's got a great library of a bunch of videos, and yeah, so that's it. So again, 2007 Chevy 2500 HD crew cab. It's a 4x4, obviously. Upgraded the brake rotors and the brake pads, and believe it or not, knock on wood, truck hasn't even been ever in an accident, and doesn't even have 100,000 miles on it. So hopefully it'll last me for quite a few years. All right. Well, again, hopefully hope this helps everybody else out, and you know, any questions, like I said, I would highly recommend going to Chris Fix's website. You can find on YouTube, covers a multitude of different things, but just remember, synthetic is always a little bit better than carbon based when it comes to any kind of contact points where you don't want any squeaking or squealing. All right, until next time.